I just rolled into Baudette, Minnesota, and as you can see from the sign behind me, they call themselves the walleye capital of the world, and there's good reason for it. We're gonna head out on Lake of the Woods, and we're gonna show you how to catch them this week on the water. Boy, that is a prime example of a fish that is not only hungry, but a fish that got a little bit unlucky in the fact that I missed some fish this morning and learned a lesson. And what that was earlier this morning, I was pulling back and setting the hook so quickly on these fish that what was happening, ooh, that popped out. What was happening is I was missing a lot of them. A lot of times these fish will come up and they give you that first thunk and they nail you, and you pull back right away trying to set the hook and you pull it right out of their mouth because they just had the back half of that minnow. Well, this time I was able to feel them, thunk, and then I waited. And you wait for that weight to get there because he ate up the second half, and then you just lift up. And with the super line that I'm using, you don't want to set the hook real hard. Let's throw this guy in the live well, and then I want to show you the jigs I'm using because it's making a big difference today. This is what I'm using right here. This is a Lindy jig, and what's so cool about this jig is you can see that bright pink color. I'm fishing some pretty dirty water today, and there's a lot of great bright colors, and that's what you're gonna need to use in dirty water. If you're in clear water, you're gonna use more natural stuff, but out here today, I'm gonna need that bright stuff. It's also got a great long shank hook that allows me to fish a minnow. And when I hook a minnow, I hook it a little different than a lot of guys, and I wanna show you what I'm gonna do. And I'll do it with this same minnow we just caught that fish with. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go in his mouth, then I'm gonna go out his gill. But instead of coming back through his side, what I do is I kind of reach down and then I come back up that way. And here's why I do that. When that jig is hanging, now that minnow is actually gonna be hanging in the same direction that he would be swimming in. And that makes a huge difference. Pick a good jig, pick the right color, pick something with a good sharp hook, put your minnow on the right way, and you'll catch a lot of fish up here on Lake of the Woods. There he is, got him. Boy, I dropped this jig and it never hit bottom. I mean, that's when you know you did something right. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's color or whether it was the bait I put on. Oh yeah, it's a dynamite walleye. Let's get him in the boat. That's a good fish right there. You know, that's what's really neat about jig fishing, is you get fish to come up and hit you and you get to feel the bite. And I think that is so cool. That's a dynamite walleye right there. We'll take him home and eat him. But you know, I want to talk to you a little bit about jig fishing. First, I'm going to throw this guy in the live well, and then I want to tell you how I'm catching these fish. What I'm actually doing here is I'm anchored in an area where most people wouldn't expect to jig fish. I'm kind of in a basin area. Now I'm going to show you the exact location because it's really, really important that you know exactly where you want to anchor when you're in a basin situation. Let me take you up to the map and I'm going to show you. You can see I'm anchored right here, and there's actually another fish underneath me right here. But the key today is the location that I'm sitting in, and I want to show you what it is. This is a basin area, and you can see it's 21, 22, 23, 24 feet. There's several breaks, but as soon as it flattens out in 28 feet of water, it's gonna go flat for a long ways. But what I've done is I've found two little bumps, and these little bumps come up to 27 feet. Now you can say, boy, that's not much of a structure, but out here in a basin, that's huge, that 1 foot difference. You can see I'm actually anchored up right on the tip of that thing. And that's why these fish are here. What's really neat about this too is there's no boats around me. If you can find those little differences in the basin, you're gonna catch a lot more fish. Right there. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You know, one of the things I do a lot when I'm fishing your basin type areas is I'll anchor the boat up and I'll sit on a spot for a little bit. But boy, if the bite slows down, I stayed right on the same structure. I was right there. I've just moved to right there. There's a fish that's up. I'm gonna drop my anchor and I'm gonna probably be able to get him to bite. And the other thing that I always believe is if I see one that's up and active, there's probably more with him. I just didn't see all his buddies because I didn't drive directly over the top of them. Let's drop in and see if we can't get him. this is just another one of those same cookie cutters. There's just a lot of great fish in Lake of the Woods right now. And you know, there's a whole mix of both big fish and great eaters like this guy. And right now they're really easy to catch based on where they're at. You know, right now, these fish sitting right on all these breaks, you're able to actually come in here, line yourself up, find the right spots, and be able to catch fish pretty easy because you don't have to cover this whole lake right now. We'll throw this guy in the well and we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up for the rest of the week. The weather looks like it's going to be pretty chilly. It looks like Sunday is going to be about the only warm day. Here's what's going to happen there. There's rain in the forecast, there's chilly nights, and there's some days where the high is only going to be in the low 60s. That means these fish are going to stay put. In fact, if you get some north wind, they may actually push back in. They need the water to really warm up before they move. What that's going to do is keep them congregated in an area that's pretty small and give you a chance to really be able to get on top of them and pick them off one after another. So this is going to be a great week to be up here at Lake of the Woods. Bring your jigs, pick up some shiner minnows on your way into town. You're going to be able to get them all week long. This is one of my favorite parts of the day after I go fishing. It's eating it. I'll tell you what, the keys to the catch today were a couple different things. One is we had to be on the exact location. And when we found that irregularity in the basin, that's where the walleyes were stacked up. The saugers were there too. In fact, we got a few saugers today to go along with our walleyes, and at Lake of the Woods, you can have a limit of both. And then the other key was that we used a jigging technique that a lot of people don't totally understand, and that is being very, very subtle. And what I mean by that is when a fish hit, instead of jerking it away from them right away, trying to set that hook, which I did a few times, I actually had to just settle down, let him hit it, let him take it a second time and really suck it in, and then just lift and reel. And that made all the difference. Check back next week for more current and up-to-date information from your favorite lakes and rivers. I'm Jon Thelen. We'll catch you next time.